Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Okay, so we will continue our Harinama Cintamani class. We are now in chapter 12. So this chapter 12 is the 9th offense. There are 10 namaparadhas. We have Haridas Thakur has been explaining all the namaparadhas. First, this Harinama Cintamani, he has explained the glories of Harinam, what is Namabhas, what is Shuddhanam, and how to be able to attain Shuddhanam. Okay, so we are warned from committing all these 10 namaparadhas. So now we're in the 9th. 9th is Pramad. Pramad means, you're familiar with this term? Pramad? Pramad means
mad. But very mad.
Pramad means inattentive chanting. So Haridas, he has mentioned to Mahaprabhu that when Mahaprabhu went to South India, he has taught Gopal Bhatta Goswami to very carefully, with all attention, worship Krishna. He said, and so now he is giving this in regards to the holy name. The chanting holy name is okay, like worship of Krishna. He's saying that if someone is for a long time, even observing very carefully not to commit those namaparadhas that we have mentioned, like the 8 namaparadhas, but still after a long time still no attraction to the name, then we have to understand that he's not free from this namaparad, which is inattentive chanting. He said that this inattentive chanting is the cause of all anarthas. He said you can never pass the stage of nishta as long as your chanting is inattentive. Understand? When we talk of the stages of bhakti, shraddha, shraddha, then shraddha has to become firmly fixed in nishta. In nishta, that means already you are one-pointed in your bhajan. You are doing service actually. In the stage of nishta, although you're not tasting ruchi, you're not tasting taste, but already the material environment, no effect on you. So your bhajan is fixed. So he said you cannot pass the stage of nishta as long as your chanting is inattentive. Why? Because still anarthas are still developing. Nishta only comes after anartha nivritti. This shraddha, then sadhu sangha, bhajan kriya, anartha nivritti, then nishta. So he's telling that. So there are 3 kinds. So Haridas is explaining for our benefit, nicely, 3 kinds of this inattentiveness. One is inattentiveness from being careless. The actual term there is udasinya. Udasin? Here in Vrindavan, there's so many sadhus. They're red cloth. We call them they're mayavadis. But they're red cloth, with head, how do you call this? There's how do you call that? Dreadlocks. So we call them udasin. Udasin meaning they're aloof to the material world, this, aloof, so, indifferent. So this term udasin, meaning aloof, indifferent, apathetic, this. When your chanting is also like that, so that is one type of inattentiveness, meaning you're careless. You're chanting but no feeling, and indifferent. So he's saying by nature of the jiva being conditioned in this matter so long, we have so many material desires. Easily you become indifferent from chanting. It's automatically we're attracted to sense objects, and therefore when you're chanting, mind is another way and chanting is another way, like this. So that's one. If not clear, you ask me. So that's one. What is that? Udasinya, or apathy, or indifference, or carelessness. like careless, really. Next, another type of inattentiveness is from, they call it jarya. Jarya means laziness. Mind is lazy, like doesn't want to chant. He's telling like as long as there's no anurag yet, there's no attraction, then very important for the jiva to very carefully chant, and without carefully chanting, then mind is like this, udasin, and also lazy. Lazy meaning, you just like go through the motions of chanting, like mechanically chanting, and even that you cannot how do you call this, like continue. Sometimes you fall asleep, you struggle like that. Or you just want to finish, sometimes like I have this rounds, like you just like quickly have to finish like that. This is inattentive chanting. So this is namaparadha. Then third one is another type of inattentiveness is called vikshepa. Vikshepa means distraction. This distraction meaning you have all this attraction, these desires. They're kind of related. These three are related because they're all in one category, inattentiveness. So mind is distracted. Haridas, he nicely explained. He said the root cause of this distraction is all your like desires for wealth, desires for name and fame, desires for like beauty, desires for sense enjoyment. When you have all these desires, automatically you're distracted. You're you're thinking of something else like that. So this distraction is another type of this inattentiveness. These three things, as long as it's there, then one is prone to commit this namaparadha. While you're chanting in this way with this inattentiveness, then he said that you cannot. It's so difficult. It's like a struggle to attain, like nectar of the holy names, like this. So that's why Haridas said you cannot even go past the stage of nishta, meaning you will never be like fixed in your sadhan bhajan, like that. And so he said, have to be very careful. So what is the solution for that inattentiveness caused by udasinya, like carelessness? He's saying that, very important for the devotee to stay with Vaishnavas. He said, like, if he can stay like where the Vaishnavas are chanting, like say Vaishnavas are like going parikrama. At that time, there's no distraction. It's just the Vaishnavas is there, or like Vaishnava is sitting, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, for example. Early morning, he would be sitting, and his mercy, he's like also telling his disciples, sit properly like that, and chant like that. So he himself is giving example. So Haridas is giving example that stay with the Vaishnavas, stay with your Gurudev, and see how he's chanting, see how he's relishing nectar of names, and so like stay in that place where there's no disturbance. Stay for try for 30 minutes, and then increase to 1 hour and more like that. And he said stay where there's more like this spiritual like environment. So he said very favorable with Tulsi, with staying in the holy dham, but most importantly with the Vaishnavas, and like try to follow the mood of like how he's chanting like that. So that's why we're very fortunate. Sometimes Vaishnavas, when you're living with the Vaishnavas, you have the opportunity to stay with them while they're chanting Harinam. So usually they go parikrama. At that time, no disturbance. So you're also going like that and seeing like how they're chanting, and also and in that way, you're just like following, but gradually you're being disciplined, and trained like this. So he said, okay, this is the way. That's one for carelessness. Now for laziness, he's saying that we have to see and appreciate how the Vaishnavas don't want to waste any time. Like every second of their life, they're always like, this is for service for the pleasure of Krishna. Like you have to see and appreciate that, like how in their life, like they don't want to waste like any of their activities in mundane talks or like any material activities. So he said, like if you stay with the Vaishnavas and try to absorb this kind of mood, then very quickly this inattentiveness from laziness also like going like that. And then Haridas is saying like, oh, there's third type, inattentiveness from vikshepa or distraction. He said, because he was telling that this distraction is coming from all these like material desires, So he said, very important, if you try to increase your enthusiasm by like immersing yourself in the activities of the Vaishnavas, especially in their vrats, like Ekadasi, like that. So he's specifically telling like, yes, like you try to, follow like how they're following Ekadasi, their Janmashtami, or their festivals. And at that time, they're speaking Harikatha, they're chanting, and they're giving up their eating, like that. So then you get used to how they're using their time to like minimize all the bodily desires, like that. So in this way, like you'll be trained how to become like less and less distracted. And he said also like you try to like maintain and increase your chanting. Like he said, enthusiasm. You try to develop enthusiasm. But he's saying, don't sacrifice quality by trying to, artificially increasing, like, your number of rounds. He's saying that, okay, another symptom of this indifference, this inattentiveness is manifest when, like, you're chanting and your only goal is to finish your chanting. Automatically, in this kind of mood, you're like this, inattentive. So he said, don't artificially try to increase. Usually you try to increase because you want some recognition. I'm devotee, like that. And you're telling everyone, I'm chanting 1 lakh Harinam, like this. Oh, I'm doing parikama early morning, like so early, 2:30, like this. So you can chant so many rounds. Like you're trying to making yourself like this. But then if you try to like really sincerely, very important to be sincere. Try to see like how are you chanting? Is it really by quality? Or is just like, oh, because I want to chant like more and more like this. So he said there has to be enthusiasm, but then sincerely like following. So he said 2 ways. It starts with properly chanting, like pronouncing the names like nicely. You can chant fast, but fast enough that you can like hear like nicely. You don't have to say loud also. Like sometimes you can say loud, so like other living entities like Haridas Thakur, he sometimes he said that sometimes he chants by mind, sometimes he chants loud enough that he can hear only, and another is like more loud so like everyone else can hear. So you can chant like fast, but like the syllable is nicely like repeated, and that you can hear. And he said, then more importantly, chant with affection, with love, like this. So from that, then gradually, you can increase. You can chant. You can try. He said you can try to sit for like 30 minutes non-stop chanting, and especially with the Vaishnavas, is very good. And in that place, disturbance. And then you can increase to 1 hour, then to 2 hours, like this. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote this book. In his footnote to this chapter, one of the footnotes he mentioned, this is at the end. He's telling that Haridas, Haridas was telling to Mahaprabhu, because this is Haridas. He's explaining to Mahaprabhu this ninth offense. No, so he's telling that the chanting has to be like regulated and like increased like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his footnote, he actually wrote the passage, a direct passage from Chaitanya Bhagavat, like a verse. He's saying that in Chaitanya Bhagavat, in Madhya Lila, Mahaprabhu himself directly he taught this Mahamantra. And he's telling like, oh, you chant this Mahamantra. And he used the term, you chant it nirbandha. Nirbandha meaning like in a very disciplined and like a regulated like manner, so non-stop. So he explained that nirbandha meaning if you can maintain a certain number of rounds every day, that is like nirbandha, like your vow. Like Guru, he gives us a certain number of rounds every day. So that's actually nirbandha. And there's like a measurement. It says like 4 rounds.